This is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network, now in its 7th year. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Show me the sign. Red letters, Alex, it's me. White letters, the Ramble. That's the program that goes until midnight tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, we go out to San Francisco, and when we do, Larry Bubbles Brown is on the other end of the phone most of the time. Today I had a little bit of trouble getting to him because every time I would ring it, it said the phone is not available or online or something, and I kept trying, and I then emailed you, and I tried to call your mobile phone, but you didn't answer that. And finally,
I had the ringers down on all of them, and somebody called me on my landline right before you called, apparently. So.
Well, the other thing that gets to me is I kept saying to myself, Larry is such a Luddite about this sort of thing. How can he possibly have a problem with his phone? You know, it's a landline. It's anchored to the building. It goes out by a line that goes to the phone company. I mean,
hi, I'm Robin Leach with those champagne wishes and caviar dreams, and you're listening to the incredible, the memorable, the wonderful, the one and only Alex.
Ladies and gentlemen, we go out to San Francisco, and when we do, Larry Bubbles Brown is on the other end of the phone most of the time. Today I had a little bit of trouble getting. Sorry about that, folks. I accidentally hit the keyboard wrong, so you'll have to hear the beginning of this interview just one more time. Or something, and I kept trying, and I then emailed you, and I tried to call your mobile phone, but you didn't answer that. And finally,
I had the ringers down on all of them, and somebody called me on my landline right before you called, apparently. So.
Well, the other thing that gets to me is I kept saying to myself, Larry is such a Luddite about this sort of thing. How can he possibly have a problem with his phone? You know, it's a landline. It's anchored to the building. It goes out by a line that goes to the phone company. I mean, I could see if he had problems with a wireless phone or whatever, but no.
Yeah, and it doesn't even have call waiting, so that's why.
Oh, you don't have call waiting. You can't even go that far, can you?
This is bare bones, yeah.
Yeah, you can't go that far. Yeah. Why didn't you get call waiting? You wanted to be.
I canceled it years ago. It's expensive. I'm hardly ever on the phone, so.
Well, but look at today. You should have had call waiting.
I should have, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't want to be like your mother. You know, I don't want to nag you about this sort of thing. Why don't you have call waiting when I call? If you had call waiting, you'd be able to pick up and say, "Oh, Alex, I'm on another line. I'll call you right back."
Remember all the before cell phones, all the different services you could get for the landline. There was call waiting. There was Star 69.
What does Star 69 do? I forget now.
If you didn't have a caller ID and somebody called you, you hit Star 69. It would dial the number that called you.
Oh, okay, all right. And that's the way you got even with people who were like giving you a bad time. And
yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember Star 69, and wasn't there another one, Asterisk 69, that did something? There was
an Asterisk 8. Let's see. There's one you can do to block your number if you're calling. They had I don't know. They charge like $5 for every service. It's total rip-off.
Yeah.
But they must have had like 20 different things.
Well, you know, the thing is, I believe if you on your current phone want to call somebody, say, in Europe, they charge you international charges, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? If you call New York, do they charge you to call New York?
No.
No. They used to.
They used to. Yeah.
They used to. But the thing is, if you got on your wireless phone, you can call anywhere in the world. Doesn't cost you a penny.
Oh, no, that's right. They do charge on the landline. They do charge long distance, yeah.
Yeah.
They still do that.
Yeah, so if you're going to do long distance, use your mobile.
Right.
Because you're not going to pay for it. Don't use your landline.
I remember in the '80s, the long distance charges were I spent like $100 a month for that, and then you had the first cell phone of anyone I knew, and I remember I think you had 500 minutes.
Yeah, they had some kind of limit.
For $50. Oh my God, that was such a great bargain at the time.
Yeah, well, the thing is that as time has gone on, all the phone companies and everything have kind of given up on trying to charge you per minute for every call you make to, say, New York. All right? So they just give you a blanket fee, and they charge, like you pay $35 a month for your phone service, your wireless service, and it's all included. You could call Mars, for crying out loud. They don't care, But then you got this, which is Skype. I'm calling you on Skype. And if you use Skype, you can call anywhere in the world, actually, on Skype, I believe, without being charged for it. If you're charged for it, it's very minimal. Very minimal. And, of course, we can talk on Skype for as long as we want to, unless, of course, Skype hangs up on us, which happens occasionally,
Yeah.
But, kids, you're listening to two old people talk about the way phone service used to be.
Well, you talk about old phones, sir. I was in your old friend Curtis DeMartini was up yesterday, and we went up through North Beach, and we went to the Maritime Museum, because I heard they had some really cool murals there,
yeah.
Which they did, and we found they had 2 old phone booths, and they were really, really nice. Remember the phone booths for the payphones?
Yes.
Where you closed the door, and you had quiet, and they're
a light
really
went on.
nice.
A light went on.
Yeah.
And it was nice and quiet. It had kind of soundproofing in there, like this beveled kind of metal. And you go in there and you make a call. There are no more payphones. No more. They don't even exist.
Yeah, I haven't seen one in years. So.
And they were convenient, but what killed them was Wi-Fi, wireless rather. Just the regular mobile phones. Because who needs a payphone? I need to go find? Hey, I better go find a payphone. I got to call home. No, I just pull it out of my pocket and start talking. I mean the phone, not other things.
Remember on the payphone, you'd be talking to somebody, and the operator come on. You got to deposit 40 more cents.
Yeah, I remember that. And it's click, and then you find you're 1 coin short.
Yeah, that happened all the time.
You know what's interesting though? I always loved England because they were so civil. Now let me give you my perfect example of how civil they were. Let's say you're using a payphone in England. You have to deposit the equivalent of whatever you deposit to start the call into the phone. If you try to deposit it before you get your party, you can't deposit it because there's a bar that came down that prevented you from putting coin in the slot.
Really?
It only would allow you to put the coin in the slot and have it register once you got your party. It wasn't like here where you had to put it in first and then call your party, and let's say you didn't get them, you're praying and hoping the quarter comes back.
Yeah.
Right? They would not take your quarter till they had provided their service. I swear to you, that was
much more civil.
Anybody who's ever been to Britain knows I'm telling the truth. And of course, they probably don't have payphones anymore over there either. But when they did, they were civil payphones as opposed to ours, which robbed many a quarter from me because it never returned it when I didn't get my party. So.
Yeah, I guess they are. They used to have banks of payphones at the airports, remember?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you would go, where's the payphone? Over there, and there were like 20 of them lined up.
Yeah.
And you had to wait because they were all being used.
Yeah, and then that's not a germaphobe's dream of getting a dirty payphone.
Well, that was the only way that you could say to somebody, "Hey, I'm here."
Yeah.
Cell phones have changed everything. They've also changed our sociability. You get on a subway car, and I swear to you, if I took a video of a subway car, everybody's looking at their phone. Nobody's looking at each other. Nobody's engaging with each other. They're just buried. Their nose is buried in this phone. And many of them, when they're outdoors, are almost run over by cars because they're so busy looking at their phone. It's created a very unsociable behavior.
I see people looking at phones, walking into telephone poles, and falling over curbs. And
yeah. I mean, folks, I'm gonna say this because I don't want to sound like an old fart who's saying, I hate these cell phones because they make people so unsociable, and this is bad and that's bad. I mean, the good part is you got a phone in your pocket anytime you need it. You can call whenever you want to. When somebody's calling you, they can always get you. Maybe that's a negative. That
is a negative because there is something nice about being able to disappear.
Well, you can do that by just turning off the phone. Oh, wait a minute! I can turn off the phone. I don't know if I can do that.
Yeah, people get mad at you. Hey, I called you.
I mean, Marjorie, I say, well, turn off your phone, and she goes, how do I do that? She doesn't know how to turn off the phone. Which button do I push? I tell her, like, sometimes, when phones have problems, they get glitchy. And so the best way to solve the problem, and I always tell her this, is just reboot. That will usually solve any major problem. And she then says, how do I do that? You don't know how to turn off your phone? No. You don't know how to turn it back on? No. And you've had a phone for how long? So, I mean, I'm always get things from her like, it's not working, Alex. I can't get, please, Alex, come into the bedroom. I can't get my phone to do this or that. And I go and I reboot it. I said, what do I tell you to do? Just reboot. So,
So you had the that cell phone you had was huge, your first one.
Well, it was a car phone.
Yeah.
It was a car phone, and it had a cradle, and it had a cord. But I was one of the first ones, wasn't I?
You were,
yeah. And I like that idea. I like being able to, make a call from the car if I needed to. Or if I was going to be late for getting to the station in the morning, I would simply pick up the phone and say, I'm in the car, I'm on my way, I'm in Chinatown right now. And then I would have to take the Chinese people and turn on my windshield wiper to get them off the hood of the car. Cause there was always this big joke, and I don't want to do Asian stuff here, but that Asians were bad drivers. And they were bad drivers. Now, wait a minute. Don't say, Alex, you're anti-Asian. I'm all for Asians driving, and some of the best drivers I've ever known are Asian. That's kind of like some of my best friends are black. But anyway, it's close. Anyway, the reason why some of the older Chinese were bad drivers is simply because they came from a place like Hong Kong, where you drive on the other side of the street. So the way they learned to drive didn't have the same kind of rules that driving here did. But did you find that many times Chinese were bad drivers in San Francisco?
I didn't notice any more than any other race. But that was when I started comedy. That was everyone had a bad Asian driving job.
Well, I asked an Asian friend once why. Asian drivers with bad drivers. He says, just the old ones. He says, not the young ones. It's the old ones that came from the other country.
Okay.
And then came here and learned how to and drove a car because they just weren't used to the rules of the road here. And that was the reason why. From then on, I never made another bad Asian driver joke.
Yeah.
I turned them into old lady jokes. Okay. Yeah. None of which you can tell today because it's either racist or ageist or sexist. And if you tell a joke about an old Asian lady, then it's racist. You hit the trifecta.
Then you're canceled.
It's the trifecta. You're racist, you're sexist, and you're ageist. So,
God, I hope this shit ends.
What? All the proper.
All this, yeah.
Well, I mean, it should be. A comedy club should have a sign saying this is a what do you call it, free zone, like a woke
censorship-free zone.
This is a woke-free zone, okay? Whatever that means. It's the newest term. That once you walk into a comedy club, a comedian is allowed to tell jokes about anybody for any reason.
Right.
And if you don't like it, leave.
Yeah, it's very simple.
That's simple,
not a hard
right?
thing to solve.
Yeah, it's an easy thing to solve. So just live with it. I mean, I was talking to Slayton the other day. He isn't doing his act anywhere. He's not working.
That's what I heard. So he's not working at all.
He's not working at all, but he's going to do a thing, I think, in Vegas with Gilbert Gottfried, that he's going to MC or something like that. But he said that he just hasn't been working. Number one, because of COVID, obviously, but the other reason is that look at his act. He get booed off a stage for it now.
Oh my God! Yeah.
I just think a comedian should have the right to do anything he wants to do. Okay?
Yeah, and Bobby's probably the greatest club comic of our generation.
And every time he ever told an Asian joke, every time he told a black joke or a Hispanic joke or a woman joke, my wife's so fat, blah, 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 you never felt he hated anything.
No.
He did it with such humor that you never felt he hated it, that it was coming from a place of hate.
Yeah, usually the groups he made fun of, they were laughing. It was always the white people that got upset, the guilty white people.
Oh, always white people. It's always the race that isn't affected by the joke that complains about the joke.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think you ever had anything in your act that I can remember.
No, mine was always my humor was always directed at myself, pretty much.
Well, it was self-pejorative.
Self-deprecating, yeah.
Self-deprecating, yeah. The best one being your opening line, which is somebody stole my identity and now he has no life. Boom, there's Larry Bubbles Brown. Yeah, but you never did any Asian jokes or women jokes.
No, I remember, God, there's so many.
If you did a women joke, it was about how they
not only they were just bad.
Well, if you ever did a joke about women, it had to do with how they didn't like you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It was at your expense.
Yes, I'm the number one cause of vaginal dryness.
Yeah. That was one of my favorite lines. But my question is, how about the other comedians you work with? Have they had to adapt the ones you know?
I think so. No one's, like you said, Bobby could not do his act now. The younger audience, their heads would literally pop off. So
yeah, that's not right. That's not proper. Wait a minute, you're in a goddamn comedy club, moron. Nothing's proper.
Lenny Bruce would be rolling over.
Oh, Lenny Bruce would probably be hung by the nearest tree.
Yeah.
Although, I don't know. I'm trying to think. Did he was more political than he did anything about races or whatever. I'm trying to think. No, Lenny Bruce might have been able to survive today.
He had a lot of sexual material.
What, was there sexual material? I mean, I'm trying to think.
I thought he got arrested in San Francisco for dropping the F-bomb.
Yeah, but that was later on in his career. I'm talking about in the beginning of his career, the early part of his career, the first couple of albums. I think it's pretty hard to find anything there that would not play today in this woke environment. I hate using that term.
Yeah.
But in this woke environment. I can't imagine that, for instance, you work with Dana Carvey, that he would have any trouble. I can't remember Dana ever having any material that,
No, not at all.
was disparaging towards anybody. His comedy was more about how you look like a mannequin in Sears, And who else do you work with? Is this Hispanic comedian you work with, right?
Felipe, yeah.
Yeah. But he doesn't have any trouble because, he's the race he's talking about, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, I mean, he doesn't have any problems. Although, did he have to do any adaptations to his act? I mean, to change
I don't think so, but because it is mostly about what's this joke he's got? Two Mexicans were in a freak accident. They both had insurance.
But you see, he can get away with
now,
it.
if a white guy said that...
Yeah, but he can get away with it. If Bobby had done that joke, Bobby would have been vilified. Okay?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just you can't... It's sad because when I was younger, and I always paid attention to what went on before I was born and the kind of comedy that went on before I was born. And what was so great was the fact that... what am I looking for here? What was so great was what we called the dialect comics, in vaudeville.
Mm-hmm.
Every comedian that came on, every comedy team, were usually a dialect team of some sort, either an Italian dialect or a Jewish dialect or whatever. And we were able to laugh at our differences. And that doesn't exist now. And it's very hard. I'd say if I were a comedian coming up today, I don't know what I would do as material.
And I think that laughing at everyone's differences, that kind of stuff actually brings people together, whereas this crap we got now drives people apart.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Henny Youngman's career would have been over after his first line.
Yeah.
Take my wife, please. What was it? I was watching Rodney Dangerfield on the Tonight Show, and he had one great joke, which was, I said to my wife, "Is there another man?" She says, "I hope so."
Yeah, there has to be.
There has to be. That's the line. That's the line. You got it. I forgot. I didn't get it right. Is there another man? There has to be.
There's a funny joke in less than 10 words.
Yeah, and there's a funny guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't hit hit the button every time, but he came damn close most of the time. I mean, some people can consider him one of the best comics ever, don't they?
Oh yeah, absolutely beloved.
Beloved. And there was he must have been an influence in you in some way, because there was
I like the self-deprecation and I just like and those quick, tight jokes. When you got something funny under 10 words, that's pretty amazing.
But why are you self-deprecating? Is it kind of a defense in a way against the audience?
Not really. I thought for most people, I thought life sucked, so I thought people could identify with it. But because I've had people come up and say they felt bad for me after a show. And yeah.
Well, yeah. You just hope they're not talking about how bad your act was.
Yeah.
I felt bad for you. Oh, why? The act sucked, and you sucked with it. But self-deprecation many times is used as a defense. In other words, if you are self-deprecating, then the audience can't put you down because you've already done it.
Yeah, they can't. That's a good point. Yeah.
Also, because you're self-deprecating and you present yourself as this, loser. Okay. They have no way to heckle that. I mean, do you get hecklers much?
Hardly ever.
What you got heckled? I remember this. You got heckled by what's his name? The guy.
Hunter Thompson.
Hunter Thompson. You were doing a thing at the Mitchell Brothers.
Right before the theater opened, they had a private party, and they had me and a couple other comics, and we went down there, and we were performing mainly for the strippers and the employees. And Hunter Thompson had been living in the Mitchell Brothers Theater. He was writing a book, I think, and I think he just started heckling me.
And he was never sober.
I didn't even answer. I just thought, well, it's kind of an honor to get heckled by Hunter Thompson.
Yeah, but what did he say?
It was nonsensical. I think he was really on drugs or out of his mind. Yeah.
Yeah, but it threw your timing off, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Wow. That is kind of a badge of honor that you were heckled by Hunter Thompson.
Yeah, I should. Yeah, it's kind of a good story. I should.
Yeah,
bring that up.
Yeah, I had forgotten about that till just now, and then I said, "Yeah, you were the guy that Hunter Thompson heckled."
No.
Wow, that's amazing. Well, let me see here. We got about a minute left. Anything you want to plug? Are you going to be anywhere?
I will be. Let's see. I'll be at the Punchline August 31st.
Oh, really? And it's open?
It's open, but the way things are going, maybe it won't be. So.
With masks?
They weren't. Not right now. They're still.
See, the answer
I think
to
they
that
are limiting it to 60% maybe, but there's no mask.
The answer to that was with masks, and you go not only if you're holding the place up. Yeah. Anyway, always good talking to you, Larry.
Good to hear from you, Alex.
It's Lawrence Bubbles Brown. We don't have another word to change for Bubbles to make it sound fancier, but it's Lawrence Bubbles Brown.
Yeah.
Thank you, Larry. Bye.
Thanks, Alex.
This is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network, now in its 7th year. Talk like you've never heard it before.
All righty. I'm sorry. Oops, got to turn on the lights. There we go. Okay. Hi there. How are you, everybody? Good to see you. Nice to have you here. And we have 2 people waiting. There's 3 people waiting. Oh, all of a sudden, I thought I was going to be here with nobody tonight. And then all of a sudden, these people start calling. And we have, let's see here, Josh Wheeler, and we have Vernon Nunn, and from last night, and from Australia, Ross Manuel. Hello, Ross. How are you this evening? And hello to Josh. Hello, Josh.
Hello.
And hello to Vernon Nunn. Hello, Vernon. How you doing?
I just lost my own picture here.
Did you lose your own picture?
Yeah, what happened?
I don't know. I'm not there.
Yeah, let me turn it off and turn it back on.
Yeah, I'm not good at doing things long distance. You know. Oh, here's Jeff Stein. Okay, Jeff. Hello, Jeff. How are you? How you doing, Vernon? You've got it yet? Huh?
Can you see me?
I can see you. We can see you fine.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can't see myself though for some reason.
Yeah. Well, can you see? Can you see everybody else?
Yeah, I see everybody
else. Well,
else.
that's all that matters. When we can see you, so it's terrific.
Okay.
I got something to start out with tonight. This is kind of fun. You might enjoy this, folks. You know that I'm up for. I've been nominated for induction into the Radio Hall of Fame, but I'm up against 3 other people, or groups of. One of them's a team. One is Sally Jesse Raphael. The other is some team down in Philadelphia. I wish I could tell you their names, but I never heard of them before in my life. And the 4th one is Larry Elder, a right-wing talk show host who is now running for governor in California in what is that horrible, horrible runoff thing they've got going there. I mean, it's really a terrible, terrible thing. What they do is they say, we want to recall Gavin Newsom. Okay, so if you want him recalled, vote you want him recalled, and then here's a group from 55 people who are running against him. All right? And the one who wins with the most votes, not with 50%, not with a certain percentage, with the most votes, becomes governor. Somebody could become governor with literally 2% of the vote. Okay? Pretty stupid thing that goes on out there in California. And Larry Elder is leading the batch who are, of course, see, if you vote that you want Gavin Newsom, then you're finished. If you don't want Gavin Newsom, then you have to pick from below. Who would you like to see be governor? I think Josh will probably agree with me, pretty stupid idea, that whole recall
One of the
system.
choices, none of the above?
No, they don't have that. And they should, I guess. But anyway, so Larry Elder is not only running for governor of the state of California and leading, by the way, among the 55 people who are, he's got something like 10% or whatever. Well, it comes out today, and I wonder how the people over there at the Radio Hall of Fame are going to feel about this one. Allegations by Larry Elder's fiancée of verbal and emotional abuse have roiled the California gubernatorial campaign of Larry Elder. Alexandra Datig gave an interview to Politico's Carla Marinucci, saying she broke off her engagement to Elder in 2015 after an incident in which he took out a gun while high and threatened to throw her out. I thought it was a Phil Spector moment, Datig added. Now, Datig, the story gets better, okay? Datig, who once worked for Heidi Fleiss. Now, you know what you do when you work for Heidi Fleiss, right?
She was a madam, wasn't she?
Heidi Fleiss was a madam, and I guess Datig was a hooker. All right?
A lady of the evening sounds better.
Well, it could be the daytime, too. You know, anytime you need one, if Heidi had one available.
She was an upper-class escort.
Yeah, yeah. Datic, who once worked for Heidi Fleiss, later becoming an informant and witness in the Hollywood Madams case, and says she served for a time as Elder's streaming audio and web producer, told Marinucci that she feared for her safety and sobriety while with Elder, and that he demanded, get this, that she get a tattoo, okay? That she get a tattoo that would read, let me see here, Larry's Girl, right? The Los Angeles Times reported that Datic, in a separate interview, made some of the same claims. There is Elder, the brand, the one on the radio and the one everyone sees, Datic told the Times. And then there's the Larry Elder after the show, the one with the insults, the Tasmanian devil rhetoric, and hoodwinking. She complained that Elder was constantly smoking pot and showed the Times a cell phone video in which Elder claimed to have introduced Snoop Dogg to the evil weed. I am the one who made him what he is. He referred to it as the evil weed. Elder, presently the front runner among 46 candidates, I was wrong, it was not 55, it's 46, is looking to succeed incumbent Gavin Newsom if he's recalled in a simultaneous vote, furnished a statement to the Times generally denying Datic's charges, saying he never brandished a gun at anyone. I grew up in South Central and knew exactly how destructive this type of behavior is. It's not me, and everyone who knows it's not me. These are salacious allegations. That's usually the answer for that kind of thing. So here's another hypocritical Republican. Okay. Here's another hypocritical right-winger. However, I'm not going to put him down for smoking pot. But I am going to put him down for smoking pot and allegedly brandishing a gun while he was high on pot. You know. And this is the guy that... I wonder if he's listening. That Phil voted for in an absentee ballot. Phil, if you're listening, do you have buyer's remorse? You know. So anyway, and that's also the guy that they're considering to be in the Radio Hall of Fame.
Be an addict now.
If he wins, I'm going to write a letter to the Broadcast Hall of Fame and saying, "Boy, you really pulled it off this time, guys."
That's the right guy.
Yeah.
I voted for you 12 times, Alex.
Did you really? You have
Yeah, I've got 12 emails. So
really? Oh, okay, good.
One.
Good. Leave it to a guy who knows Morse code, you know? That works. Josh, what do you think? Sound like a normal Republican deal here?
I think that sounds exactly like the type of person I would expect to be elected governor of California.
Oh boy, yeah. So
if there were an opening for the governor of Illinois, I think that he should take up residence there because it sounds like he would fit in well.
What have you got there, Brian Neary?
How do I cross off Larry Elder's name on here now?
You don't cross it off. You just don't check it.
And if he isn't elected governor of California, perhaps he could be the new host of Jeopardy.
Well, yeah, that's right. That's right, because they're making a lot of good decisions on that one, aren't they?
Yeah, he came 7 or 8 shows. He's gone.
Of course, they've got a nighttime. What?
Maybe a few days later we could cancel him and move on.
Right. The Jeopardy thing. You know who is the? Phil sends me a note here. I'm still happy with Elder, but are you starting to miss Trump?
Oh my God.
Not even for a moment. Okay. I think as far away as Australia, Russ is.
Have you heard what Trump is claiming today?
Ross isn't even. Why do you call you Russ? Ross isn't even feeling remorse about Trump being gone. Are you?
No, it's been over a year, and we have not covered him at all in the entire time, and it has been a glorious time.
Yeah. Was he on the news? Was he on the news every night there?
Yeah, because the shit that would come out of his mouth just continuously.
Yeah.
Have you heard what he's claiming now?
What's he claiming now?
He's claiming that because of the fiasco that's going on in Afghanistan, Biden should resign, but he's also claiming credit for the fact that the fiasco that's going on in Afghanistan is something that he set up.
Yeah.
He predicted it, that the chaos would occur because of the way he was pulling the troops out, and he started pulling the troops out in such a way that it was very difficult for it to be reversed once it got started.
I see, but he predicted that
Yeah.
So why doesn't he say, I feel sorry for Biden that he had to somehow have this can kicked down to his part of the road?
Because he
that would
talks out of
require
both
him to
sides
take
of his ass.
responsibility.
Oh, of course he is plausible deniability constantly.
He talks out of both sides of his ass.
Or farts out of both sides of his ass. That would be even a better statement. Oh boy, yeah. Well, anyway, Larry Elder is a perfect example of what I call hypocritical lives of right-wing talk show hosts. Okay, I think if you scratch beneath the surface on most of them, especially the ones that like Hannity and so on, you'd find some pretty skeezy stuff going on. Because they're just skeezy people.
Have you heard what Hannity and a lot of the other Fox hosts have been promulgating on their channel for a COVID cure?
You're talking about the
ivermectin.
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 What is ivermectin? It sounds like a joke you're going to pull.
It's a medicine that's used to deworm horses.
Oh.
Really? Well, wait a minute. Are they actually on Fox saying that?
Yes. There's videotape of them talking about how great ivermectin is to cure COVID.
Ivermectin, is it? How's it spelled?
Yeah. IVERMECTIN. IVERMECTIN.
I can't type anymore. Iver, and then what? Mectin?
MECTIN.
MECTIN. Let me see here. Not use ivermectin to treat. Okay. It's intended for animals. That's what I'm reading so far here. What is the first drug that was approved by the... No, that's not the one. Ivermectin. I want to see if... Let me go to the news thing here, if it says anything about Fox saying it. But some people are taking an antiparasitic to treat COVID. Here's why it's a bad idea. And then I haven't got time to read the article. But fact, check animal ivermectin should not be used on humans. Really, they're saying that? Who's saying this on Fox?
Laura Ingraham, Tucker Carlson, Sean Hannity.
Oh my God. What's going to happen to all these people that take it because they listen to these douchebags?
Well, 70% of the poison control calls in Alabama this past week have been from people who have taken ivermectin.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, God.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah, hi there, Ray. How you doing?
Hey, Alex. I'm doing good. How are you?
Going down to the store to get some ivermectin?
Yeah, whatever that
Wash
is.
down bleach.
Hey, I just wanted to say, the show 2 nights ago, I watched it yesterday. It was really, really good. The whole
Really?
discussion, I loved it. Yeah,
Oh.
with Patrick was on. You guys were talking about Afghanistan. It was great.
Yeah.
And there was a new guy in there who knows all about Afghanistan, and I don't know his name. Hey.
Mecton.
Yeah, there you are. Yeah, Ross.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. I learned a lot. I watched it yesterday.
Well, they have ivermectin for humans, or it says
What is
here. But I think it's just for animals. Yeah. Advanced.
That's what my daughter says. She works at a vet clinic.
Yeah. Yeah, they use it for animals, right? Wow. You know, I mean, how Fox can allow their people to do this without checking with medical authorities, you know? Because if somebody dies doing this, they're going to be responsible. And they're going to get the living daylight suit out of them, which I can't say I'm sorry about, but I am sorry for the people who might die or get deathly ill from using this crap.
Well, they'll just use the same argument that their claims are so ludicrous that no one in their right mind will follow it. And that's the defense they've used in all these other grandiose claims that they keep making.
Yeah, but all these hosts are saying, "Oh, this works," and nobody's there to say to them, "No, you can't say this." I mean, if I ran a network like that, I don't care if it was MSNBC or CNN or Fox, I would put out the rule that if you're going to give any advice like that, you're fired. Mainly because you're not a doctor and you shouldn't give out medical advice that hasn't been verified. So, I mean, can you imagine people using this instead of taking the injection, instead of taking the vaccine? It makes no sense at all. But then again, these people have no brains at all. So, what can we say?
Yeah, they're afraid of the vaccine, but they'll put a horse dewormer in the
Yeah, exactly. Jeff, you're up in New Hampshire. How is it up there? Jeff, can you hear us, Jeff?
Muted. He's muted.
Oh, he's muted. Unmute yourself. Is he still muted?
No, yeah. I'm not.
There we go.
Oh, there we go.
There he goes.
Okay.
We were worried about you for a couple of nights because you didn't call.
Yeah, well, it was very difficult, and because I was officially sick, even though I wasn't sick.
Yeah. He tested positive for COVID, and then he went back and got another test and tested negative, and then he got tested.
2 more tests.
A second time and negative.
Yeah. So I am healthy. But anyway, we were supposed to all go together with the whole family to the Cape.
Yeah.
And then we canceled it.
Yeah.
So the next thing is all the kids went up to New Hampshire because they have one of them used to live there, so they have friends there who have places, and they found a place to stay. So sure as heck, we went there, and today it was absolutely gorgeous, beautiful day. We're on the boat and all that nice stuff. But now, tomorrow...
yes, the hurricane.
The hurricane of hell is coming on Sunday, I guess.
It's supposed to hit here maybe on Saturday late.
Yeah.
But you know what's happening on Saturday here? They're having that big, what do you call it?
Concert.
Super spreader event in Central Park.
Jeez. Yeah. So I'm going to leave early tomorrow.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And
well, if you had, no, I wouldn't leave early. I'd stay there till it passes. The reason being that when you head south, it's going to be coming north.
I know, but I got to tell you where I'm right here on the water.
Yeah.
And it's all these lakes and stuff like that. Whoa.
Yeah, so close all the windows and hunker down.
Yeah.
Put on the...
Well, I live in Connecticut. We're high up.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think we'll be okay.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to see where we live.
Are you going to get any of this, Josh? This hurricane?
No, no,
Ah,
too far west.
Too far west? Okay.
you're lucky.
All right. Far
I mean,
west.
not that I know of. I don't know. I should probably read
Alex
the
is
weather
going to be
report.
right in the center of it.
Well, I don't know. I'll tell you, be right in the center of it are the people in Central Park watching Bruce Springsteen blow away. You
They're
know.
gonna cancel.
Huh?
Yeah, they should.
They'll cancel it.
They should have canceled it because of COVID. I mean, things
We
are
didn't
bad
know that.
again. Haven't they read about it?
They're worried about us eating in a restaurant, right? But they get to pack into Central Park,
Yeah.
stuck together like sardines.
No,
It's like
they're not
crazy.
packing it. Packed is 300,000. They're only going to
Oh.
allow 70,000 in Central
Oh,
Park.
I'm sorry.
Only 70,000.
So if you don't have the Delta variant after that, Alex, then what are you doing?
Yeah.
Don't forget to
You know-
put the mask on. Yeah, all right. Everybody's around. Come on. Really?
Yeah. And now they're saying about COVID that, and this is wonderful, that the governor of Florida, which Florida is like, oh God, it's
Moron
it's
center.
terrible. But he's saying, there's always remdesivir. There are always what do they call them? Microclonals or
Monoclonal antibodies.
monoclonal antibodies, and you can take those, and you'll be fine.
It'll just keep you from having to be hospitalized.
Yeah. Do you realize that in order to do that, no, you'd have to go to a hospital to do it because it's intravenous and it's by a drip.
It's an infusion.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's an infusion. So it
Takes about 20 minutes.
Yeah, but still, you got to go to the hospital to get it done.
Yeah. Or a clinic of some sort, and they want to watch you for an hour after the infusion.
Yeah, but the monoclonal antibodies don't necessarily work, do they?
Yes, they keep you from being hospitalized if you have
Right.
COVID.
So that is now the Florida governor's idea of how you protect yourself. Now, what's cheaper for the state? Putting these monoclonal antibodies in somebody or just giving them a vaccine?
They only work if you're infected for just a couple of days.
Mhm.
If you're like really sick, they don't really help you.
You have to get it in the first day or two.
Early.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you got to get it early. Yeah.
Yeah. So. Oh boy,
But the good news, it's widely available.
Oh, it is widely available.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, at least there's some good news that way. But it's just getting so ridiculous. I don't know.
Did you hear what the Attorney General of Texas said today?
No.
He was on CNN or something, and he goes, well, 90% of the people that are getting sick that are unvaccinated are black people. Like, what? Where did he get that fucking bullshit?
Wait a minute. Say that again. He said that.
He said something like 99% of the people who are getting sick and hospitalized now from COVID are black people who chose not to get vaccinated. He said that on TV.
I don't know that that's is a reliable statistic.
It's a fucking lie.
Especially,
flat out racist
especially
lie.
from anybody in government, in Texas.
It's a fucking psycho.
Yeah. I mean, they probably wish that because you know how they feel about black people down in Texas.
Right, exactly.
They hope they'll die, but
Yeah.
no, it's just I'm sorry. I mean, there should be laws preventing governors from doing what these two governors are doing. They're literally putting people's lives in danger, and they're putting their lives in danger by passing ordinances which make it more difficult for people to use masks in certain situations and to be vaccinated and so on. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible.
No, people can use masks if they want to, but they have to have the freedom not to use the mask if they want to.
Oh, in other words, they can go in somewhere to eat dinner,
Yes.
even though they haven't been vaccinated and they don't want to wear a mask.
Yes.
Okay. So, in other words, he's encouraging people to infect other people.
Yes.
That's wonderful.
It's your right to infect other people.
Josh, am I right, or is this whole country going to hell in a handbasket?
Oh, I don't think it's quite that bad.
We're getting there.
Not quite that bad. I mean, I think it's turning around from where it was a year ago, a year and a half ago. In the overall, I mean, the COVID thing, isolated among itself might not be much better, but the country itself is overall, I think, in better shape.
But it is infected with this horrible disease of people who are making and politicizing vaccines.
Mm.
You know, and
yeah,
they're still there, and they're all Trumpers. You know.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of them. You know, I mean, it's yeah. I wish it wasn't like that. I mean, if people had misgivings about it, or didn't want it for certain reasons. I mean, I think that, that would be fine. I mean, that's one thing. But I don't think a lot of it really comes from that. I think a lot of it is, the team that I play for's leadership told me that this was stupid. So now that's what I think. I think it's, like you said, it's very, very politically motivated. I mean, it's very politically motivated, as a matter of fact. I don't really know that that's even I don't know that that's gonna work for Republicans. I mean, I think they see that as a ticket to the midterm. So that's what I think's, sad about it. I mean, again, if you didn't think the vaccine was worth your time or a good idea or whatever, and you could sit down and you could say, and here's my reasons why and everything, I think, fine, that's a discussion and we could have it. But I don't think a lot of people are thinking along those lines. I think that they are thinking, well, I want this guy to be president or whatever, and he's against it, so I'm going to be against it. We're going to get this train going and see if we can get this guy elected. I mean, I don't know that's going to work for them, but it might.
Well, I think things are terrible in that what we've had a tendency to do now is just get really dumb about everything. Well, yeah. I mean, I can't believe the stupidity that is running rampant in this country. And I don't like to call people stupid and make them feel bad about their feelings. But when it comes to this, they're stupid.
You could say.
The scariest part is the 2022 midterm elections. If the Republicans take control of the House again, the dumbest guy in the House of Representatives could become Speaker of the House in Kevin McCarthy.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, I don't like I don't like a lot of the hypocrisy I see. I mean, I mentioned it last week, but I mean, I just don't. Again, if you don't like it or whatever, fine. But I don't really understand that. We've heard for a very long time, even decades, that wow, the government just doesn't have any place coming into your local school and telling your kids what they should learn and all that. This should be up to the local school board, who gets elected by the parents and with the involvements of the parents and everything. And just all this personal freedom and individual choices and all that. And then, you have these states where these governors just sign executive orders saying, hey, you can't impose a mask mandate in your school. And so again, I don't even want to have the debate over masks. I don't want to have a debate about, do they work? Are they a good idea? Because that part of it doesn't matter. What I'm saying is they've abandoned their own longtime hardcore principle in favor of making it a political issue, right?
Right.
I mean, where is their conservatism now? Where is their personal choice and freedom now? Where is their local government is the best kind of government thinking? The local Taze Valley School District right here that I live in with, I don't even know, 2,000 students and 20,000 residents in the county, electing these 5-member school boards, and they met with all the principals of the 4 or 5 elementaries and the middle school and the high school, and they all decided they wanted a mask mandate. And that's what we should do. Well, that should be their thinking. Wow, those local people decided that in their county things are pretty bad and they need it. And hey, over here 75 miles to the north, there's this other county, and it's not bad at all. Hardly anyone's sick, and they didn't want a mask mandate. And here and there. So they didn't think any of that was going to work. What they did, they didn't do this in Ohio, but what I'm saying is like Texas and Florida and all that. Oh, no, I'm just going to sign an executive order that says you can't do that. Oh, and as a matter of fact, if you do, I'm going to assign punitive damages to you for that. In fact, we're not even going to pay you. I mean,
yeah,
that is so far from a real conservative's principle. I don't even know that. I mean, neoconservative.
It's the opposite. It's the opposite.
Well, I mean, I think that the problem that we have is that people who claim to be conservatives really aren't. You know, they're just calling themselves conservatives to be able to wave a certain flag. But are you going to tell me that Rand Paul's a conservative?
Of course not.
Are you going to tell me that any of these douchebags that Larry Elder is a conservative? You know, these are people that are just out for their own best self-interests, and you know.
I mean, that's what I'm saying is I don't understand. You know, I mean, it's stupid to me. I mean, again, I don't even want to have the debate over masks. I'm talking about the process of how they get there. I mean, it's just, you know, what these governors are doing is asserting a sort of power that they may not even have in some of their states. And even if they do, they have decried that they shouldn't have for years, you know, these governors shouldn't have the power to do this, that, and the other. I mean, and here they are using
well,
them.
There's an old saying that goes, you can fool some of the people some of the time, but not all of the people all of the time. But if you can do it just once, you'll be elected for 4 years.
It's their own selfishness, really, and you know, their own greediness and their own conniving ways. And I mean, it's no different than, you know, my goodness, the states runs the elections. How dare the federal government? They want to pass all these daggone election laws and these voting right laws, and the federal government coming down here to Mississippi and telling us how to run our elections, and all of a sudden they lost the national election. And my God, this crap where these states can just make up any rules they want is stupid. We should have federal guidelines that say what they can and can't do.
Ross, let me ask you this. Maybe you're going to root for the home team here, but does this kind of stupidity go on down in Australia?
No, not even remotely.
Really?
Our education is federalized.
Yeah.
So we have a national curriculum. So, and the schools, our schools have uniforms, so we don't police things like that. Our schools went to remote learning and basically pointed out after the what happened is mask mandates. That's from the state level or the federal level if it's a national emergency. The schools don't have a say in the matter. If the state government says it's a masks, you're wearing masks. And we're not also saying don't wear masks. We side with science. As for elections, our elections are actually governed by an independent body. So the Australian Electoral Commission oversees all elections from the local all the way up to the federal. They are an independent body. They are assessed and oversight by all federal parties, and they are answerable not to the government. They're answerable to an independent body.
Oh,
so none of this. And we also have mandatory voting in Australia. So
I'm going to say something here that I don't know if Josh is going to agree with, but you know, we sit here and we talk about what a wonderful democracy we have, and they, unlike other countries, we hear that all the time too, and yet look at Australia. You guys are about as democratic as you can be. Right?
And oddly enough, we modeled our system of democracy on yours.
Yes, but you're serious about it. You know? I mean, we don't seem to be serious about it. I can barely see Ray. Ray, do you have any comment here?
I do, yes. I just spent 2 months in France and Italy. I can give you a little bit of information on that.
Yeah.
So when we were over there was a problem with French people not getting vaccinated. So the federal government passed a law that in order to go into any public place, you had to download this app, or if you didn't have an app, print it on a piece of paper with a barcode showing that you've been vaccinated. And that happened while we were there. And
Right.
it was fantastic. The whole country, like to go in any public building other than like maybe, I don't know, grocery store or something, you had to show that.
Now, how did you prove it?
Well, fortunately, my wife is French, so we had our American test, and she was able to go into a pharmacy and figure out with the pharmacist how to get the American thing into the app. So that would have been a problem if I didn't have a French wife. But so we had the app, and we had everything. And then I'll have to say that there is some resistance in France, but when they told people to go anywhere, you had to have that, all of a sudden the vaccination went from 33% to almost 70.
You know, it's funny.
Like within 2 weeks. And then in Italy, people just do what they're told. Whatever the mask rules are, they do it. They also have the same app because it's part of the EU. To get into anywhere in Italy, you had to have the app.
Yeah.
And there's just no problem. People are just way more mellow. They follow the rules. I felt way safer over there than I do here.
I think Italy also had that big scare at the beginning too. That really got took up. So
yeah. I mean, and I was in northern Italy where it happened. So.
There's nothing wrong with reasonable people questioning a serious medical decision or having a discussion about it. There's nothing wrong with some resistance to things. But I guess I have a difficult time understanding why it's unconstitutional and, a power grab for a Democratic, for a governor to write an executive order that says you have to wear a mask, but it's not for a different governor to sign the same type of executive order saying you can't be told to wear one. I mean, it's the same thing.
I don't get that
because how you happen to agree with it or not.
But I don't understand that when you say that, because we have to wear seatbelts to protect ourselves. This is, if you don't, I mean, you may disagree with it, but the fact of the matter is, if you're walking around without a mask and you have COVID, you're going to infect other people, especially with the Delta. So I don't see it as just like, well, it's okay if people disagree. Yeah, okay if you disagree, but you still got to follow the rules because you're endangering other people possibly. So that's how I see it. And that's how I felt like over in Europe. There were people like in some of the bigger cities like Nice,
but here's
who were breaking the rules.
But here's what here's what I don't get. We're talking about civility here. We're talking about you're part of the human race and you're living with people in this country. Don't you want to protect them too by taking the vaccine? I mean, where is that sense of community that we should be having in this matter that we don't have at all?
They don't think they're going to get it.
They don't.
I wasn't saying. I guess to Ray's point that's how I thought about it. I was saying I don't understand how the politics of it don't even.
Well, there's
I understand. You were talking about.
It's wrong for that governor to pass this executive order, but I'm going to pass one that says the opposite. Well, if he doesn't have the power, how do you?
Ross wants to say something here.
We have something that's very similar here. It's probably based on what political party the media in that state swears allegiance to. Because in Australia we have a similar problem. We have one state premier, so the governor, demanded a lockdown order and a stay-at-home order, and he was vilified as a dictator by the mainstream media. Mm-hmm. And we have another governor in another state doing exactly the same thing, and they're being lauded on as being a savior and the forward-thinking individual. But they're doing exactly the same thing. I have the question that, but if you actually ask like people who live in like Victoria, is their premier a dictator? They go, no, he's looking after us.
Oh boy. Well, I mean, I just don't understand whatever happened to our sense of community and our sense of watching out for our fellow man. And that
McCarthyism.
It probably started with McCarthyism. I mean, it goes back a long way. I've seen this country just take a nosedive in my lifetime. Although it wasn't that great, when I was a kid, we did have the communist witch hunts. You know, we had a lot of that kind of crap going on. Right wingers have always made a lot of trouble for us. You know, so I don't know. I'm just.
No, but I mean it goes way back, even prior to the beginning. I mean, the most contentious election for president of all time may very well have been the election of 1800. I mean, you know,
which one was that? I heard about that, and that
was between John Adams and Thomas Jefferson, basically the best of friends at the time. Although the election, you know, drove a real, you know, rift between them for, you know, a long time afterwards.
But wasn't there another one I heard about that supposedly was considered one of the worst elections of all time?
I mean, there obviously were several, but I'm
Zachary
I'm saying
Taylor,
that
maybe?
That election in itself, you know, it was just dirty. I mean, it was two guys that like each other and knew each other, and who were sort of looking the other way when media outlets and their own friends and everything were saying bad things about the other guy that they also both knew weren't true, and they would just say, well, I didn't say.
Wait a minute, they had a lamestream media all the way back then?
Well, sure. I mean, that's what I'm saying. If people think the media is biased now,
they open the window.
It's really not. I mean, if you think Fox is purely in the pocket of the Republican Party, you know, fine, but I mean, there were media outlets that existed, you know, during that period, and I mean, on up through the Civil War and everything, that were literally, truly in the pockets of the political party that they worked for. I mean, they were founded for no other reason other than to print malicious propaganda for the party that they supported. I mean, that was their sole purpose for existence. And I mean, so the human nature of the American citizen has changed relatively, you know, little in terms of that over our existence.
Tony?
You know, yeah, I was thinking about it too. You know, if you think about it, like when he pulled out of Afghanistan, the troops, what they're doing, it's like, all right, I'm not saying, you know, it didn't come off as great as, you know, has anybody wanted to see it. But then they try to, but what I think is like they forget Vietnam, Alex. All right, it's not the same type of war, but we were there 20 years in Afghanistan. And look at Vietnam. Too bad if we didn't pull out of Vietnam 4 years before that. And then, like, I would say people like in my generation, I'll even say myself, like I was never even, if I had to get drafted, I was talking to my brother-in-law, we get along so-so, and he's like, oh, but you know, you got to fight for the country. I said, I was never drafted. Neither were you. It's like, it's easy for us to speak tough on a couch. You know what I'm saying? While you weren't independent. Like, can you imagine that they were all like, it's almost like when Biden got in, and even you could say Trump, it's almost like they want him to fail. They don't want.
Well, you know what's interesting.
It's like the North and the South still.
What's interesting, Tony, is you bring that up about serving your country and so on. You have all these right-wing talk show hosts. I'm about the only person I know who's a talk show host who actually has served in the military.
I couldn't even answer you for that. You had to go. I never had to.
Well, I didn't have. Well, I had. Well,
no, but I mean, you were faced with the threat of being drafted.
I was faced with the threat of being drafted, so I joined the Navy. Because I remember seeing a sign that Harpo Marx walked around with in duck soup out when they were having a war, and he had a sandwich board on that read, "Join the Navy and watch the Army at work." You know, so.
I mean, you know what it's like? It's almost like, I hate to say it, like I'm listening to the new guy from overseas, and it's almost like his country.
The new guy, he goes back to the very beginning of this show, Ross.
I forgot, but you know, he said something that's
Doc Winter.
So true.
What?
I was going to ask him this. Do you think in this country we have too many rights? Like in his country, this is the way it is, and that's it. I wonder if we have too many rights here. Like these states are all like in their own little bubble.
I'll let Ross answer that since you asked him, but I have an answer for that. Ross?
Do I think Australia
that we have here too many freedoms?
I think the way in which your government has been set up is part of the reason why there's so many problems with the way the government is run. in the fact that while we have the same levels of government that you guys have, we have clearly defined what is considered a federal law and what is considered a state law. So, and that's why we see here, like for example, with with Australia's COVID response, is the federal government said that's it, we're closed, and the state said, okay, that makes sense. Natural disasters are a federal response.
But here in America, the states have what they call states' rights. In other words, there's the government, but then the state has rights. And yet, of course, the Republicans are constantly going against that too. But the states have rights. And that makes for a lot of confusion. I mean, nobody's in charge is what the problem is.
Like you just said. Oh, sorry.
I mean, I think that's part of the problem, though. Is I think it's the difference between your Hamiltonian and Jeffersonian government styles, and basically looking at it and saying you don't want big government, but when you need big government, you're very hesitant to it.
Right.
And I think that's part of the problem. Because if the U.S. government actually had any power in its own country, you would actually get a lot of the problems that you're facing wouldn't be as bad as they are.
Yeah.
Because you got the states, I've heard it, states wanting to secede, and also states arguing with each other over voting laws or tariff issues or things of that nature. And then you hear, but then I look at why is the federal government doing anything?
In Australia, voting laws would not be the purview of the states. Am I right about that?
No.
It's the purview of the federal government.
Yes.
Yeah. So they oversee all
with oversight from the Australian Electoral Commission.
Yeah. Yeah. I think our problem is this whole states' rights thing. Josh will probably disagree with me. And hello, by the way, to our old friend
Kevin.
What is that, Kevin? Yes, Kevin. What?
Hurricane.
That's me.
Hurricane alert.
That's me.
Oh, don't tell me we're getting hit, Alex.
Let's see. National Weather Service. A storm surge warning is in effect for this area for the danger of life-threatening flooding. Do you know? I got to be honest with you. I live in Harlem. I've been here for 10 years. We've gotten flood warnings. I've never seen a single flood in Harlem.
You may see Moses soon, Alex.
It looks so clear behind you. Your view looks so clear.
Oh yeah, I should get a storm background just in case.
And besides that, you're on the 8th floor.
Yeah, we're never going to drown here, but flooding. Follow evacuation orders if given. What the hell?
If there's water in the house, we're in trouble.
I will. Okay.
Anyway, Kevin, how are you this evening? Any thoughts on
Good, how you doing?
On the various things we're saying?
I'm sorry, I have my volume down here.
Anything you want to talk about what we're saying?
I didn't hear much, honestly, Alex. I've been down in the garage working on my car, so sorry.
Okay, that's fine.
It must be nice to have a car to work on.
I'm not going to ask you about it.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Wait a minute. Did something happen to your car, Kevin? I mean, Brian?
Which one?
What? Okay, now wait a minute. Hold on a second.
No.
You bought a McLaren, which is it's an expensive British car, right?
Yeah.
How much can I
You have a McLaren?
Yeah, he has a McLaren. Yeah.
I live right next to the dealership.
I
live right next to that dealership.
I know. I was going the back streets and I was thinking about you.
Yeah, but
I'm like 2 blocks away from there.
All right, but here's the point. Is something wrong with the McLaren?
The engine's not in the car right now as we speak.
Oh! What happened?
What happened?
What happened to the engine?
There's something that they need to fix. That's all.
Oh.
I don't want
Which one did you get?
Okay.
I don't want
still under warranty.
Now you have a second car, so you don't need to worry about how you're going to get around, right?
Yeah, I got the Rolls or the Bentley, whichever one. No, yeah, I have another car. No, I have my other car.
Oh, okay, and that's
Which McLaren did you get? Which one did you get?
Any one of them. This makes sense. I got the cheaper one, the 12C.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I got it from McLaren. Yeah, right around the corner from your house, right?
Yeah, next to Tesla. Yeah.
If you hear somebody scream next week, it's probably me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's something that I need fixed on it. So they're working on it right now. So it's fine.
So you take it out to be fixed, where Kevin has the ability to fix it himself.
My other cars I can, not just this one.
What is it?
That one you don't want to fix yourself.
Really?
Yeah,
Really?
It's under warranty and everything. So.
No, you do not fix supercars yourself unless you own a supercar dealership with a garage.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, when you bought the thing, how long ago did you buy this, McLaren?
700 miles before.
Huh? How many miles?
700.
700 miles. Did you get any kind of a guarantee from the dealership about?
Oh yeah. McLaren's really good about extended warranties, so I was smart and I bought the warranty. It was a little expensive, but so it's gonna they're figuring some things out, and then I'll talk to you about it later.
By the way, Bree writes in our chat room because he doesn't come on this program. He doesn't want to come on this program any longer. He writes, this is typical Bree. McLaren, dime a dozen in Dubai. Neighbor had 2 parked in back alley street every day.
Yeah, it's true. They abandon them at the airports, right? They just drive them to the airport and they just leave them there. They go fly. If it's there when they come back, it's okay.
Yeah.
Really? Is that true?
Yes.
Airports they abandon.
They even go on vacation to the U.S. and they ship their cars over here so they can drive them around the country.
Yeah.
Here. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some YouTube videos. These guys keep getting pulled over because they don't have plates. They have the special license. They have special all this stuff. And they say, yeah, we fly our cars. And they say, well, that's not usual. People don't fly their cars over. And these are like guys that are just so rich. Yeah.
Wow.
Oil money.
Oil money.
Exactly. Yeah, we keep paying them.
Yeah. Wow.
But it is oil money. A lot of the people in Dubai don't even work.
Yeah,
they literally get paid by the government to do nothing.
Ross?
Just so in case we don't get too far away from what we'll talk about, Tony, to answer your question, Australia has the same rights America does. We don't have a Bill of Rights. We have a Statement of Guarantees, which basically says we are guaranteed to assembly, we're guaranteed to religion, we're guaranteed to all that stuff.
And you're guaranteed for at least 3,000 miles. As opposed
we're guaranteed for 3,000 miles or 10 years, whatever comes first. And the advantage we have though is that we don't need to drastically have all these amendments to our constitution to change things. I think the only time we've had amendments to our constitution was to recognize our indigenous population as part of our population, and that's it. In 225 years, we've only had 1 or 2 major changes to our constitution.
And is it adding amendments to your constitution, or just adding, I don't know, sidebar note or something? Or
it's usually a sidebar note. It's like acknowledging things that like we recently changed we don't change the constitution for a lot of things. We recently amended it to allow same-sex marriage, but we do that through referendums. So the people have to vote for them. The government can't just decide, that's it, we're going to allow dogs to wear people clothes. And I was like, no, actually, laws have to be voted on by the people.
I see. Josh, I'm going to, it's a little late for me to start anything with Josh because it could go on forever. And we only have a limited amount of time. But Josh, I've always felt our Constitution needs an overhaul. It needs another constitution, but I'd say we need another constitutional convention, but to do that, we'd have to have some reasonable people willing to do it, and I don't think, because we can't even get small bills passed, it would be impossible to do that. But there are things in the Constitution that we need to get rid of, I don't think it's a living Constitution, and, I look at Prohibition. We have 2 amendments. They were really not amendments because one cancels the other out. We had Prohibition, and then we had the doing away with Prohibition, the repeal of Prohibition. They really, once they repealed prohibition, they should have said, well, the other amendment doesn't exist, and really neither does this one either. Does that make sense, Josh?
You could do it that way if you wanted. You'd still have the same result. So I guess that would be a semantic change or whatever. But
yeah,
I mean, I don't think it needs an overhaul. But if it needs some changes, we're allowed to change it. We just haven't done it.
Yeah. Vernon,
we're not disbarred from doing that.
Vernon,
I want to reinforce something that Josh was talking about, and that is that people who call themselves Republicans and call themselves conservatives nowadays really aren't. Okay, these are people who want power. That's all they want. They do not want to govern. They have no interest in governing the society as a whole. They just want the power that they can get from political office. And they call themselves Republicans. They call themselves conservatives, but they're neither.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, by the way, getting back to the McLaren for a second, we go all over the place here. Bree writes, in Thailand, you can buy a fake McLaren with just the outer hull for $12K, and they'll put an old VW underneath.
And it sounds like a VW. Yes.
You are you sure that isn't what they did at this dealership?
No.
Oh, okay. All right.
I just saw 3 commercials in a row for your Larry Elder for governor guy.
Where?
Is that the ones with his wife beating him and him smoking dope?
No, I don't know. I mean, I don't know, but I just saw 3 in a row. Well, I have the MLB extra innings package, and I'm watching the Padres and
I see. You're watching
the game. And it must be the Padres broadcast.
Well, by the way, he's not married. This wasn't a woman he was married to.
That's right. It was his fiance.
This is his fiance, who was a former hooker.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's make that straight too. She worked for Heidi Fleiss, and she testified in the Heidi Fleiss.
So he's following in Trump's footsteps.
Yes, exactly. Don't do as
if he'd have married her, beating her up, it would have been totally a different story. It would be fine. But I mean, if you're gonna beat the bitch up, you got
because then you can use as an excuse. Well, she wouldn't shut the fuck up. Yeah,
we just got to wait for the checks to clear, and we'll be great.
Oh boy, I think it's an amazing story. Now I wonder how this is going to affect
America great again. Make America great.
And a guy like Phil is happy he voted for him.
Yep.
Phil still thinks that Trump did wonderful things.
What were you saying, Kevin?
Phil's in a cult.
Kevin?
I said I was going to try and call last night, but I couldn't get up to the office quick enough. But when I heard Phil talking about that, but I had to stop by the bathroom and launch first.
I mean, he must have some money coming in or whatever. Because like I said, I saw 3 commercials in a row for that guy, and I haven't seen for anybody else. Like the whole time I've had it on.
Want to see the ballot? Wait a minute. The ballot real quick.
Well, hold on a second. Somebody else showed it earlier, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me just ask our good friend John Larkin to say something. He hasn't said much tonight.
Yeah, I heard the guy that's leading in the polls is a YouTube blogger guy.
No, that Colbert said that. That's not the story.
Democrat.
The real guy who's leading is Elder.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I read an article about this YouTube guy.
Kevin Paparath.
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
He's a Democrat too.
Yeah. Well, at least that will save some.
And there's room for one more.
He'll teach us all how to get rich in 7 days.
Oh boy, I'm telling you, what a world we live in.
What brought about the recall? I mean,
it's called the Republic.
Nothing.
It's the Republic. It's the Republicans. Yeah, it's the Republicans trying to take back the State House.
They blame it on the fact that he went to dinner without a mask on, and that's what they're using.
Yeah.
But it happened like weeks before that, months before that.
Yeah.
And it was a tiny little restaurant.
Yeah, it's the French Laundry up in Napa, which is one of the best restaurants in the world. We tried to get a reservation there. The only thing I hate him for is he could get one. Yeah. Anyway, hey, thank you very much, Josh. We appreciate it. Love having you here. Ross, 2 nights in a row. Making Australia represent. Good. Thank you, Ross. I appreciate it. Good to see that you're okay, Jeff. I was worried about you. Vernon Nunn, thank you. Thank you, Mr. John Larkin. Thank you very much, Tony. Thank you very much, Brian. Thank you very much, Ray. And thanks to Kevin for calling tonight. Would all of you give a big wave goodbye, and I'll give a big wave goodbye at you. Okay, there they go, folks. That's our citizen panel. Okay, that's it for tonight. We'll be here again tomorrow night. Not tomorrow night. We'll be here again on Monday at 4 o'clock with our little pop-up show, which is a nice little show. And it has nothing to do with this one, but it's its own little entity. We'll do that at 4 o'clock. Then we'll be back here again on Tuesday night, 10:30. Same time, same station in life. And in the meantime, as always, if you see her, tell her I love her, okay? And if you haven't done so already, it would be nice if you went and got a vaccination. And if not, wear a mask. Have a nice weekend, everybody. Bye.